Dangerous Typhoon Koinu closing in on Taiwan. Well, the storm re-strengthened over the course of today and is now a Category 4 on the Saffir Simpson Scale at 22.2 degrees north, 122.4 degrees east. It's really closing down the kilometers up towards its landfall point now, and it has winds of 130 miles per hour, that's 210 kilometers per hour sustained, a pressure estimate of 940 millibars, and it's moving due west at 10 miles per hour, 16 kilometers per hour. This is all as of 5 p.m. local time in Taiwan this October 4th. So a very powerful storm. Looks like it might be just about to start weakening again slightly, but still at this point very, very dangerous and will continue to be so. The highest wind fields are on the southern side of the storm, but on all quadrants really there are significant distances there. Typhoon warnings for most of Taiwan, extending as far north as Yilan and Hsinchu County. That doesn't include Taipei. Signal 3 warning for the northern Batanes Islands, Signal 2 warning for the rest of the Batanes and Babayan Islands, and Signal 1 warnings for the northern tip of Luzon. There are also gale advisories for parts of the southernmost islands of the Ryukyus. It is currently just 83 kilometers from Orchid Island, 101 from Green Island, 139 from Taitung, 215 from Kaohsiung City, and 323 from Taipei. Well, not really any difference to the primary hazard. We're still expecting, obviously, the severe amounts of rainfall over the northernmost Philippine Islands and Taiwan particularly. The eastern mountains of Taiwan could receive up to 750 millimeters of rain. Of course, not as populated on the eastern side of Taiwan, so I wouldn't say the winds are the major threat, but obviously they are, just not as much as the rainfall. There could be Category 3 conditions near the landfall location. Here's the forecast then, moving out over 7 days, and this is still quite poor confidence actually. This is the ensemble mean. The GFS parent model isn't doing this yet, but it's still taking it towards the southwest and eventually dying off close to Hainan, and its remnants will continue on into Vietnam, we expect, by Tuesday. GFS parent model though has the storm stalling around Taiwan for quite a while. Well, there's the Pegasa warnings on the top left, Signal 3, and the wind estimates on the bottom right there, 130 miles per hour, JTWC also doing that, JMA slightly lower at 120, and ADT estimates, the satellite automated estimates there, going at 145 miles per hour, but that would appear to be a little bit too much, and we do note that there was also a buoy reading of 945 millibars near the storm center not long ago. There's the JTWC forecast path, and they call for a slight weakening before landfall. A Category 3 landfall would appear to be sensible to forecast at this point, and then continuous weakening after that down towards just barely a tropical storm by the time it gets near to Hong Kong, but they will probably still see storm force winds. Well, here's the GFS parent model, and it actually has the storm stalling around Taiwan and really not moving very much at all until later on when it gets swept away there. There's hardly an entity at all by then, but certainly if you look towards the very beginning of this run, it stalls off the western coast and weakens very quickly, and then it goes back almost for round 2 and then gets dragged off towards the southwest. So whether that happens or whether it just completely moves through without stalling, big question mark, but probably doesn't really mean very much in the grand scheme of things. The rainfall estimates are going to be pretty huge. The winds obviously will be very strong all along southern Taiwan, getting to typhoon conditions, and central Taiwan as well. But looking at the radar reflectivity there, the simulation also showing very high amounts of rain early on there during the course of tomorrow, and then it starts to decrease quite a lot by the end of the week. So that really points towards just how high the rain rates might be, and that could cause some really serious flash flooding and landslide complications. Let's look at the total accumulated rainfall expectations here, and the eastern mountains of Taiwan of course are going to get it. Along the coastal regions as well, we could be seeing in excess of 20 inches of rain. That is 500 millimeters, and getting up towards 750 millimeters possibly in some locations. Also, just to the southeast of the islands, we could be looking at over 750 millimeters. Hopefully that doesn't reach any land areas, but places in the northern Batanes Islands could be getting up towards 15-20 inches, 500 millimeters, and over the southern Batanes and on towards the bulk of the Philippines, lower amounts, 2 to 3 inches there in northern Luzon. Sea surface temperatures still of course looking pretty good. Obviously that's not going to be the hindrance. Taiwan, the landfall implications and the land interaction will cause this storm to rapidly weaken. Taiwan does have that effect on a lot of storms, but temperatures ahead of it are looking good, at least 27 degrees Celsius, probably pushing closer to 29, so that's certainly not going to be an issue, and later on it's probably going to be wind shear that completely blows it away. So let's take a look at the satellite imagery that we saw at the opening of this video as well. There's the storm progressively getting closer to Taiwan, not moving especially quickly, 10 miles per hour, and here you can see once again this latest visible imagery just getting towards nighttime now, getting very close to those two islands, that's Orchid and Green Island, and then on towards the southern part of the main island of Taiwan. You can keep up to date with all of this satellite imagery and radar on the Force 13 website, force13.com/satellite. And as we look at the infrared there, you can see that the eye was much clearer earlier on and has started to fill up a little bit more. Convection around it though is still looking really good. Probably not the fullest defined eye wall there, but microwave certainly has pretty decent returns. And obviously when we look at radar, it's looking pretty damn good. Look at the southern side, all of those red colors there, really showing that it's got a huge amount of power on that southern side particularly. That's going to deal the biggest blow when it gets there.